box plots. The sorts of things that they might ask you. They might ask you to complete a cumulative frequency table. They might ask you to find a median value. They might ask you for an upper quartile. They might ask you for a lower quartile, an interquartile range, to draw a cumulative frequency curve. There's the lower quartile. They might ask you to make some comparisons. This one's quite interesting. How many values are more or less than? And we'll have a look at that one. And they might ask you to draw an associated box plot. Okay? Now, with the majority of things that you plot in maths, if you are in an interval, the majority of times you plot at the midpoint of the interval. But cumulative frequency curves are the exception to that rule. Okay? So, plot each point at the end of the interval. I couldn't say it any stronger. So when you're plotting at 10, you're plotting at 12, at 14, coming down here on the right hand side. If you don't plot at the end of the interval, you're throwing points away. With any graph, what do you expect the graph to look like? And on this one, you are expecting to see an S-shaped curve. And in terms of cumulative frequency, it's a running total. Okay? So, if we look at this one here, sometimes you might have that extra column in, sometimes you might not. So the first column, you're just popping across, it's 1. The next one, you're adding the 5 on to get 6. You're adding the 12 on to get 18. You're adding 16 on and you will get 34. You are adding the 4 on, 38, and the 2 on to 40. Okay, that's the first part. So when you come to plot, you plot at the end. So I'm plotting at 10. Go outside. Whoever said it, outside now. You are totally ruining everybody else's revision. So at 12, we'll come up to 6. At 14, we are coming up to 18. At 16, you are going to come up to 34. And at 18, up to 38. And at 20, up to the 40. And then as smoothly as you can, just draw your curve going through the points. Okay? So that's your cumulative frequency to start off. If you are asked to read values off, okay, so this particular cumulative frequency curve, you can see the maximum value is 40. So if you're trying to find the median, it's halfway. Okay? So half of 40 is 20, so we'll come across at 20, come down and read off the value. So that is your median. For your lower quartile, it is a quarter of the way. Okay? So come across at 10, come down, lower quartile. Upper quartile is at the 3/4 point, so you would come across at 30 and come down and read the value off. If you're trying to find the interquartile range, you take your upper quartile value, you take your lower quartile value, and it's the difference between the two. So the difference between these two values. Okay? Box plots. On a box plot, you expect to have these 5 values. Minimum, the lower quartile, the median, upper quartile, and maximum. Okay? It may well be that you have to take them from your cumulative frequency diagram. But just go halfway for your median, a quarter for the lower quartile, 3/4 for the upper quartile. And all you need to do is each of the values, just draw a straight line on the graph first of all. So 10, 20, 25, 30, and 40. And then box the middle and whisk it out to either end. Okay, that's just for drawing another cumulative frequency, and then that was for another activity. If you are asked to compare two box plots, one comment needs to be about the median or the quartiles, simply by saying the median for group A is higher for B, or whatever, and the other needs to be about the spread of your data. So either the size of your interquartile range or the size of the range. Okay? So they're the two things you need to comment on. If you make two comments about quartiles, you will only get 1 mark. Okay? Done.